How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Transport Fever 2, and welcome back to Miramar, where things are going... Why did I say it so seductively? Welcome back to Miramar, where things are going a lot better than I thought they were going to go. It's interesting, actually. This airport has been wildly successful, and I really wasn't expecting it to be. But I'm not going to complain about it. We just have potentially way too many people moving back and forth, but hopefully we can do something about that. It is coming up to 1960 very soon, so I would imagine we might start looking at some new planes, and that's something I am very keen to experiment with and see what we can do with. But I sort of want to keep doing what we've been doing. I know we have Salem and San Francisco and High Point and all of those other cities all the way over yonder in the distance, but I'm kind of thinking I want to look at Miramar a little bit, because Mesquite over here happens to want some goods, and Thousand Oaks wants goods, and Augusta and San Antonio want goods, and a bunch of them want food, and a bunch of them want machines and tools. And it just so happens that there are ways to make all of those things around here. We have a little goods factory here. We have a tools factory here. We have a machines factory up here, and we have the means to make all of those. We also have some demand for construction materials in Miramar, which we are dealing with, but if we wanted to, we could take stone from this quarry, turn it into bricks here, and bring that down as well. So we have a lot of options. And I'm going to be honest, I also kind of want to grow McAllen a little bit, just because I want to see this place build around that train track. Ooh, the de Havilland Comet 4B. I don't mind if I do. I do not mind if I do. Manage vehicles, replace passenger. We've got you. So we're going from 19 to 21 passengers. We are getting an extra 150 miles per hour top speed, which is beautiful. I don't think this is going to do that much. It brings the rate from 114 to 126. So reasonably, we might want a few more aircraft. We'll go ahead and get 2 more of those for this line. And I think while we're here, let me head over to Salem Airport and see how numbers are looking down this way. And it is just as busy. People wanting to go over to Miramar. Interesting. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and I just knocked something over on my desk and nearly broke the screen of my phone. That's great. Let's replace those guys as well, so that we can have some better aircraft heading over to Miami. I think that's probably fair enough. And you know what? I'm going to change the colors in these lines as well. The Miami line is going to be that color right about there, so a very light pink, and then the other line is going to match the Miramar color, which is that right there, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So if we have a bit of a look, I changed the line color, not the plane color. I am a genius. Manage all of the Miramar vehicles here. They need to be that color, and that honestly doesn't look too bad. I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind that at all. I'll have a look at the Miami one as well, manage those vehicles and paint them this color. And I don't know that they're gonna look quite as good. I guess we'll find out here. What is that? Oh, that's a choice. That's that's definitely a choice. Okay, well, you know what? Ooh, where are we? Okay, we're down here by Oklahoma City. Man, Salem is doing some serious growing. Like, I remember building these different ring roads sort of around the edges. What numbers are we looking at right now? It's aiming for 32. It's down to 24. Interesting. It dropped off pretty hard there. I don't know what's going on with the Salem population, but you know what? We'll figure it out later. For today, like I said, I kind of want to come over this way, and I kind of want to focus a little bit on Miramar. And I think what I'm going to do is start with... I could start with machines, but I think starting with steel production might not be a bad idea. We have got a steel mill right here in the middle. It is Miramar Steel Mill number 2. Where would steel mill number 1 happen to be? Does it have? So that's suppliers, charts, overview. You know what? We'll just use this guy and it'll be fine. Do we have any resources nearby? We've got some iron up by Augusta, which is not too bad. Do we have coal nearby? That's going to be the real question. And you know, I don't know that we do. So here's the alternative option. We could use these 2 mines down here and then take all of the resources from those over to this steel mill in Marietta. Anyway, over to here. That'll get us some steel, which is great. We can use that in the tools production, but we can also use the slag from that as sort of an additional thing for this construction materials plants. So that might be what we do. That might be the play here. So I think let's go ahead and set some things up. I was going to have these guys set up to bring more stuff down this way. And honestly, that might not be a terrible idea, having these guys bring, say, 400 of the coal and the iron down to this guy. That might be a decent idea. We have pretty much maxed this thing out, and that would leave a maximum of what, 800 coal, 800 iron that can go over to this guy. So I think that's what we're going to do. So do we still have these lines? We absolutely do. So let me look at you and let me pin you. Let me look at you and let me pin you. And basically we need to bring the rate on the Miami coal to steel 2 line and the iron to steel 2 line up to 400 for each of them. So if we head in here and go to the Miami Road Depot, we'll buy some vehicles. We want to go for cargo, and we want to move with some dump trucks here. Let's start with 20 of them. That might be a bit much, but it's what we're going to go for. We'll start with the 20, and we'll go ahead and send you guys out onto Miami. We'll do coal to steel number 2. 183. Okay, so we're going to want to double that. I don't love that we're going to want to double that, but we're going to double it, and that's going to bring us up to just shy-ish of 400-ish. It should be 367, and if I throw 2 more vehicles in that line, it's going to bring us to 385. 2 more vehicles in that line is going to bring us to 403. That's perfect. So we'll start with 40 vehicles on iron to steel number 2. So we'll go in here, we'll get ourselves dump trucks. We'll go for 40 of them. We'll get those, paint them the right color as well. And that's going to be iron to steel number 2. It gives us a rate of 353. We'll manage those and we'll say, give me 5 more. And that's going to bring us to a grand total of 397. You know what? I'm okay with that. And if we go and look up here, basically what's going on is this guy is going to ship out about 400 coal. This guy is going to ship out about 400 iron, and that's going to get moved down to this guy. And we should see that production go up to 1600 at some point, which is absolutely fantastic. Looking at our consumers, we're actually not moving enough of the slag right here, which is concerning. And yeah, this thing is full up. So I'll tell you what, manage vehicles, give me another train on that line. We'll see if that ends up being any good for us. I'm kind of hoping that it will be, but we're going to have to wait and find out. That's a lot of things going out though. That is a whole lot of things going out, but regardless, production should increase, and that's kind of what we're looking for. We have a bit of an army of vehicles waiting here, and this is actually going to be a problem because I've realized they're not going anywhere until these trains move. Okay, we might need to get creative here. Let me just push this road segment back a little bit. So back to about there, back to about there. By any chance, can I get a little bridge right here? So if I did this and then just sort of raise this up, yeah, that's sort of what I'm looking for. I don't know if I want to go with this bridge. I kind of like the stone one. So we'll do that, and that's going to let us sort of do what I want to do. And I guess that's just sort of how this is going to be. I don't love these slopes though. I kind of feel like I can make them look better. So I'm going to push this back a little bit. I'm going to have to reconnect these guys though. So just get you to there and then delete this part because it pushes the vehicles, you know, back gradually. Is this a thing I can do? So if I was to bring a teeny tiny little bit of road out of here, something like this, can I get this to be a decent looking curve over to that bridge? That is much better. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. So that leads directly into this guy. I'm going to do similar here. I'm going to take this out for a second and sort of gradually have this slope up to the bridge. Again, looks considerably better. I think we could go a little bit further with it though. So from here to there is looking pretty solid. And then this guy is just going to sort of punch straight through. We will take these bits back and then reconnect it, and that should be a really nice slope there as well, which it absolutely is. A little bit steep, but not the end of the world. We can smooth it out to make it look the part, and I think that should, I mean, it's not going to help the trains, but it's at least going to help my trucks. And would you look at that? It's the strangest parade of trucks that you've ever seen, but they're at least moving out, and that's what we're looking for. We've got this new train heading out as well. I thought it was going to be held back, but it absolutely isn't. So that's fantastic news. Long story short, that is going to be good for Miami and everywhere else. So I'm quite happy about that. These guys can head out and start doing their thing. And I guess at this point, we should start creating some more lines to bring their resources up to this guy. But I think before we do that, I'm going to take out some roads and I'm going to make the connection between everything here just that little bit better. So we need a good shot up to Moriart, what, that town, this place. This is why I haven't built anything. Moriarta, Murrieta. There's no R in there. Marietta. Anyway, you know what? I don't want to hear it. My accent, as I've said many times, we've talked about this. It does not lend itself to much. I don't want to hear it. Okay. I don't want to hear it. I did my best. All right. I did my best. I tried and failed miserably. We're moving swiftly on. So yeah, we'll try and get a decent little connection through here so that we have a straight shot up and through. I am thinking it might actually be a great idea to not do that, but instead run this guy sort of up this way into that road right there. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to go for. We'll just put a little bit of a cut on the road there. And I'm kind of wondering what this is going to look like. It's not great. I don't necessarily love it. So I think, can this just run straight on? It absolutely can. Can this come out and connect to it without being weird? Not really. All right, well, fair enough. I guess this is sort of going to be the little connection that we go for. And that's fine, honestly. It could be worse. It's also not the road I was actually looking for. This road right here. I completely okay, you know what? We're going to run this straight through as well. And that's going to be a solid connection for this little town. We'll do the same thing here. And that'll give us a couple of options for getting in and out of here. Also, this ain't it. This is not what we're looking for. Let's have that be a bit more of a gradual hill right there. And that should be fine. That'll be a decent little connection straight through. I feel like this road here should probably be upgraded. I don't think a country road is what I was looking for. I was looking for more of the large street here. I kind of messed that up. But we'll do a large street straight through, since that's going to be quite a busy road, I would imagine. And then connecting this over to everything else, we're going to want to get over to the goods factory. We're going to want to get up to the tools factory. We're eventually going to want to get up to the machines factory. But I think this will sort of be our start. So we'll have the coal and the iron come up to here. We'll have the steel go over to here. We'll have the tools production be the first thing we do. I think the second thing we do should be, well, we can do the bricks. We can get that going as well, but then we'll do the goods. And there we go. We have ourselves a new connection straight over into Miramar. So let's start to get ourselves a few buildings in here. We're going to need a drop-off point for iron and coal. And what I think I'm going to do is try to stick with just, ooh, we have some straight constructions now. Interesting. We've got intersections. We've got roundabouts. Definitely kind of keen to play with some roundabouts. I'm not going to lie. I think it'd be kind of fun to build some of those at some point. I can also have a larger radius. I can have more lanes. It's kind of cool. I like that I can also scale these up. I completely forgot about that. I never use highways, but I like that they're a thing. Anyway, we want some truck stations. I'm going to go for just the full 6 platforms. And I think what we'll do, since both of these resources are probably coming in this way, I think we'll just put them down here. So directly across the way. It could be a little bit closer to the tunnel, but I think right about here is probably fair enough. I might go a little bit further back from the road. Might not be a terrible idea. I think we can get away with here though. I think we can manage, and then we can expand this if and when we need to. And then when it comes to the slag and the steel, I think sort of a similar approach. I think we go with the 1 station and we try and get it as close as we can, which is going to be, well, we can do in there, which is actually kind of surprising, but that's not a bad place for it. So I think honestly, right about there is going to be just fine. So that's where we're going to pick things up. This is where we're going to drop things off. We'll have slag heading over to this construction materials plant. We'll have steel heading up to this tools factory. I'm figuring we can probably use this little branch here as our drop-off point for the slag. And then for the tools, I think what we'll do is 2 platforms. And I think we'll go for, actually, you know what? We'll do 1 because we can have the drop-off point and the pickup point be completely separate. I don't know if that's necessary. It's probably not, but we have the money to do it. So we're going to. So that'll be our drop-off point. And then our pickup point, I guess, could be right off of this intersection. That seems like it would be, a good idea. So right about, I want to say right about there, really. Something like that. Okay. So that's going to be our pickup point for the tools. And then the drop-off for the tools is going to be somewhere in the middle of the city. Now, annoyingly, it could be here. I don't know if I want to do that, though, because, again, that's going to start creating, well, I was going to say that's going to create more traffic, but reasonably, it might not. I think regardless, I'm going to do the drop-off for tools sort of opposite from that existing one. So we'll go for here instead. Oh, wait, no, it can be here. Never mind. We're not using these guys at all. We'll just use the, we'll use this guy. Yeah, that's absolutely what we're going to do. Okay. Let's start working backwards in terms of our lines, and let's get this done nice and quickly. And now with all of those lines up and running, well, up and created, we need to get ourselves some vehicles. So let's, I guess, sort of work based on, I want to optimize. I do want to optimize. I don't think I'm going to be able to optimize, but I would really like to. I think what I will do is configure this guy just to be able to hold a little bit more. I'm also going to pause while I do this because the game runs a little bit quicker when you have things paused. So we'll extend this kind of considerably because I'm expecting good things out of this depot. I'm also thinking I could probably get away with a couple of these buildings sort of down this side. I could probably extend this a little further, but I'm going to go with this. And I think that's probably fine. So that makes it look, I don't know, like there's some kind of yard going on there. Anyway, when it comes to the slag to bricks line, let's figure out what the production on this guy is going to be from the jump. So it's going to be 200. It says 400, but you have to keep in mind that is combining both of these. So 200 slag, 200 steel is what we're aiming for. So we'll go ahead and grab both of these lines. We'll pin the bricks one. We'll pin the tools one. We'll close you and sort of move these around a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And now we want the rate on both of these lines to be about 200. It's not going to be perfect from the get-go, but it'll get there. And that's sort of what we're looking for. So we'll buy some vehicles. We are looking at steel to tools. So steel is going to be moving in the back of a truck with side stakes. We could also have this be what moves the tools into Miramar, but I think we'll be fine. So steel to tools is, yeah, 200 is what we're looking for in this. So we'll go ahead and buy, I guess 2 to start with is going to be fine. We do have an autosave running, so it's going to slow things down slightly. But we'll go ahead and I think we'll just start with 5. I think 5 is a nice round number. And that's going to give us eventually, once we get them actually assigned, we're hopefully going to get something decent. So steel to tools is going to be 53. So basically duplicate that. And that should give us 106 roughly. And then duplicate that again. And that's going to give us roughly what we're looking for, which is 212. A little bit higher, but honestly, that's not terrible. So I'm kind of willing to allow it. And now we just have to do the same thing for the bricks line and all of the other lines. And just like that, we have a whole bunch of vehicles heading out to pick up a whole bunch of coal and a whole bunch of iron. If we have a look in here, we do have some waiting, which is fantastic news. These stops are going to be crazy busy. It honestly might not be a bad idea to build another set of truck stops down here just to sort of handle the amount of vehicles that I'm throwing at both of these. But everything is now set up. We should have 400 coal, 400 iron coming in here, which is going to turn it into 200 slag, 200 steel. We have trucks that are taking that 200 slag over to this guy and the 200 steel up to this guy. And then this turns that into, ooh, I might have things a little bit off on this now that I think about it, because this is now a 2-to-1 rate. Regardless, my ratios might be off a little bit, but we do have the vehicles heading out to do their things. So I'm not crazy super concerned about it at the moment. We're just fine. We're gonna be all right with this. I think we have a decent little decent little plan going. And so the next thing I want to do while this all gets up and going is I sort of want to look into some kind of goods production. Now we have this guy here, which is great. We have a goods factory, and that can turn plastic and planks into goods, or plastic and paper into goods. We have some plastic production right here. We have a 2-to-1, which isn't a great ratio, but that's okay. And then we have a thing up here. We could start making some paper, which I'm not against doing. We have this guy down here. We could start making some planks. We have a forest right down here by McAllen. So reasonably, we're going to do something. Basically, we're going to have to figure out exactly what we want to do. We also have a lot of alcohol sitting around here. What is your production right now? You're up to 335. Our consumers are getting the full thing that they need. What is my rate on this right now? 206. We actually need to bring that up a little bit. Give me another 5 vehicles in this line, and let's see what that does for us. That'll bring us up to 248. Give me another 5 vehicles in that line. Brings us up just shy of 300. That'll do. So that'll keep things going. That'll keep this guy happy. We've got a lot of bricks waiting to go into Miramar, which is interesting. Consumers, Miramar, 183. If I look at you right now, it's 126. So again, we'll go ahead and I don't know if we need 2 more vehicles, maybe just 157. Give me another one that gives me 189. You know what? That's perfect. That's completely fine. So that'll keep all of that stuff going into Miramar. The airport is just as busy as it's ever been, which is fine. But I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and start this goods production because I'm getting sidetracked. And every time I get sidetracked, I get nothing done. So here's what's going to be frustrating about this line. We can move our logs up to this sawmill, and then it's a 2-to-1 ratio. It's 2 logs to 1 plank, and we can use the same trucks to bring the planks back to here. That, you know what? That's actually not frustrating at all. I was going to say if it was the other way around, it'd be frustrating, but no, we can use the same trucks and they just don't run empty the entire time. You know what? I'm an idiot. I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. Don't worry about it. Nothing's frustrating at all. Everything's going to be just fine. So let's get our truck depot set up. I am, you ever have one of those moments where you're so confident in something you're going to say and then you're immediately humbled? That's basically what that was. I was really, really confident. I was like, yeah, it's going to be a pain. I'm going to have to work this out and blah, 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 blah. Immediately humbled. We'll go ahead and build this guy right here. That'll be our pickup for the logs. We'll go ahead and drop them off up here, which, I mean, of course we will. That kind of makes sense. It's where they need to go. So we'll go ahead and drop them right about there, and that'll be completely fine. And then this guy, I'm kind of thinking we're going to do, let's see. Let's just do a whole bunch of platforms. I think that'll be fair enough. We can do a whole bunch of platforms and we can just use the one big stop for all of the trucks for the time being. We'll see if that works out. If it doesn't, we can change it later on. But for now, that's what we're going to do. And then in terms of this line, we're going to go from here. We're going to be picking up the logs. I'm going to say just wait until it is full. There's no limit in how long you're waiting. Go ahead and bring those up to also use all of the platforms, please. And then bring those up to here, also using all of the platforms. It's going to be loading up on logs at the first one. At the second one, it's going to be unloading logs and loading up on planks. And we want to say, I do think a minimum stop of 30 seconds is a good idea, just to make sure that things actually get processed a little bit. So that'll be fine. And then from the halt, you want to come down to here. And we are going to say, oh, it's auto saving again. I wondered why it was being a little bit weird. You're going to come down to here. You're going to go to platform 1 and platform 2 to drop things off. We're going to have a little bit of overlap there. I don't love it, but it's fine. You are going to be unloading planks, and that's about it. And that is going to be our planks line. So I'm going to call this McAllen, so I don't have to pronounce that other one. So it's road cargo. It is McAllen. And it is going to be, I guess, logs to planks to goods is what we're going to call that. And that is perfectly fine. The other thing is essentially going to be plastic. So we're going to use planks and we're going to use plastic. We're going to get goods. We can deliver those into Miramar. And then somehow we're going to get machines and food down into McAllen. I think realistically, we could probably take some of the alcohol that we have in production here. So thankfully, the plastic production is going to be relatively easy here. All we're going to need to do is get ourselves a couple more roads. We'll go for I have been using these small country roads because they kind of just make sense to me. So I think we might just stick with those. Although that one's sort of been upgraded now. It might not be a terrible idea to sort of go around Miramar rather than pushing these vehicles down through it though. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let me upgrade you to a better road. Let me upgrade you as well. And I can't upgrade that one annoyingly, but that's fine. We're going to extend this guy out a little bit. And I'm going to try to connect it over this way. So this road doesn't necessarily need upgraded the entire way, but up to about there we can do. We'll bring this down a bit. And then I basically want these guys to sort of do something like this is kind of what I'm thinking. We'll have a nice little curve on that. We'll bring that back slightly. We can curve this around like so. And then maybe we just have the trucks come down that way to deliver things to the goods factory. I think that's definitely the way to go. So this road can actually just remain as sort of a small little country road. I think that's completely fine. We'll bring it over like this and maybe something like that. I think that's the angle we're looking for. We'll take out all of this part just so I can hopefully tidy that up a little bit and not have it be quite as much of a carving into the terrain. And then here, that's really not what I was looking for. I was hoping I could get this to behave better, but apparently not. And so with these two lines set up, grain to plastic and then plastic to goods, all we need to do at this point is set up a line that brings goods into Miramar and then get vehicles on all of the above. So why are you guys all stopped here? Ooh, we have some trains that are blocking some roads. I'll tell you what we're going to have to do then. We are going to have to move some signals. I think that's basically kind of the gist of it. So this signal coming out of here for one, I don't think it's ever going to be a problem. We are going to get rid of that one just so they don't block that road. And we're going to get rid of you so you don't block that road as well. Now that train is going to move forward, but it's going to sort of just sit there for the time being, which is all it can do. That's fine. That won't be a problem in future because that train's not going to stop on the road anymore. So that's a problem for now. It's going to be gone in the not too distant future. Anyway, let's go ahead and figure out what our delivery is going to be for these goods. Now the goods are wanted again right in the middle of town. So let's just set that up immediately. It's going from here, platform 5 and platform 6. And this is going to be Miramar goods delivery. We'll go ahead and get it painted the right color. And then it's basically just going into this guy right about here. I don't love that we're throwing so many vehicles at that one station. It's not great, but it should be fine. I want to say it's going to be fine. We're also going to be unloading here, and that is all. So that is going to be our goods delivery. At this point, really, we just need to figure out what we can do. So this can produce up to 300. This can consume up to 200. So if it's producing 100, it has to be consuming 2 of those. So we want this to be, let's see, if I pin you and I grab you and we move you up to there. So that's the first one that we want to deal with. Second one is plastic to goods. So we'll keep it down there. So grain to plastic needs to be, I mean, it needs to be able to move 300 for now. And I think 300 is what we're going to go for. So we'll get ourselves, we can unpause while I'm doing this. We can get ourselves some vehicles and we can move grain in the back of a dump truck. Give me 5 of those because it is a very short line. And we'll paint them this color. We'll go down to Miramar. It is grain to plastic. And that gives me 226. You know what? Give me 2 more of those. We'll bring that up to 300 just to future-proof it a little bit. 316 is solid. So that should be fine. This guy's now producing. Looking here again, it can produce 100. So plastic to goods is going to want a rate of 100 for the time being. So looking at that one, plastic can be moved to the back of this truck, which is perfect. So give me 10 of those. We'll paint them the same color. We'll put them on Miramar plastic to goods, and that gives us 161. So again, future proofing, it is a little better than it needs to be, but that is completely fine. So now we should have some trucks heading up to deal with these guys. This will start producing soon enough. And then when it comes to this guy, it can produce up to 100 goods. So I think reasonably, what we can do is put enough trucks on this to have a rate of 100 through there. So let me go to, let's see, goods delivery, pin you, get me a few vehicles. We are going to be looking for, again, the side stakes. Give me 5 of them. That was 3 of them. That's fine. We'll start with 3. We'll go from there. We'll see how it goes. So goods delivery, another auto save. I have auto saving maybe a little bit too frequently. I don't think I've ever, I shouldn't say this out loud. This, I'm playing with fire, but I don't think I've ever had this game crash on me. I can't remember this game ever crashing on me. Again, playing with fire by saying that out loud, but it's the truth. I don't think I have. I really don't. Anyway, this guy should be good to move across that road. Now we have this signal here. This is where all trains in the future will stop, which is great news. I'm also going to get rid of this signal because I don't want trains stopping across that road either. And this one as well, I think we can maybe get rid of just to be safe. This one as well, I'm going to get rid of you just to make sure we're not blocking roads, you know? It's kind of important that we're not doing that. Especially with this number of vehicles just casually sitting on that road right now. That is bad. That is very, very bad. So hopefully we can get things moving. We might even want to upgrade that road because there are a lot of vehicles on it. There's a lot of vehicles going back and forth from Miramar down to that place. So at the very least, they're moving now, which is great. If anything, we could try and tunnel under the train tracks. That would be an option to try and avoid the trains a little bit, or we could go over them again. That would also be an option. Wouldn't be against either one. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't be against either, but I think we'll leave it for now. And what I would like to do is, I think upgrade that entire stretch of road. I think upgrade this entire stretch of road as well, and I think upgrade sort of that bit should be fine. We'll sort of get some turning lanes in there and that'll be all right. And hopefully that's going to speed things up. We got these guys going around doing their thing. We've got these guys over here. Hopefully they absolutely are bringing in some grain. So this should all start working is what I'm getting at. We do have tools production going ahead as well. So we have everything now doing what I want it to do. Looking down here, this guy is doing all right as well. Its shipment could be better, but we'll get there. Oh, wow. We're only shipping a little bit there. We could be shipping more to the tools factory, but that's all right. We'll see if this ends up leveling up or not. I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen before this is all going to be... Oh, yeah. I knew this was going to happen. I'm wondering if extending these platforms is the option, or if my original idea of just maybe adding another depot would be the right call. I want to say another depot is the right call, but I'm going to be stubborn for a second. I'm going to just extend these platforms a little bit, because that does give us more room for the vehicles to pull into each bay. So we'll see if that works. We'll see how that goes. Up here is going to be slightly trickier. Up here might just need its own dedicated thing for the other line, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so I might have gotten a little bit frustrated with the trains occasionally holding my traffic back, so this seemed like the right way to deal with that. This is also the only type of bridge that I could get to go over this road that wasn't going to have pillars in weird places, so it's maybe a little bit low. I don't know if it is really. I mean, it looks a little bit low, but it's probably fine. We've also got this road connection here now, which I don't necessarily love, but it does the job. We've got a bunch of vehicles coming down to pick up logs to take them over to turn them into planks, which is fantastic news because I totally forgot to do that. But that should now mean, at least soon enough, that we are in fact going to be making goods, and we are going to be moving those into Miramar. We're already bringing the tools in here, which is fantastic news. This place is aiming for 1,400-ish people, which is considerably better than I was ever expecting this place to do. So no complaints there. And there we go. We finally have some goods production. Even if it's not very good production, it is still better than absolutely nothing. I am kind of thinking, though, that it might not be a terrible idea to split the lines that are bringing the logs up to this sawmill. I don't love the idea of having to do that. I think it's a little bit silly that I'm going to have to do that, but I do think we need to, because those lines, we could make it a lot more efficient, and it's going to be easier to sort of manage it's going to be easier to balance it, I think, if we have two separate lines here. So we're going to change you to be just logs to planks. And then we need to manage the line and take out the transfer spot. So that'll be completely fine. They're just going to run empty on the way back, which is fine. It's not the end of the world if they're going to run empty on the way back. They're just going to unload there. They're not going to be loading up on anything. That's completely fine. So that gives us 390. This guy can produce up to 600. The shipment can be up to 400 right now because that's what that's consuming. So what I'm going to do is get this guy to sit quite nicely at hopefully just over 400 with one more truck, 403. So that's fine. So if we're moving 400 logs to this guy, this is now going to be producing 200 planks. So I want to get a new line. I want to go from here and I'm going to go right into here. And we're going to say that's going to platform 1 well, I guess in this case, it's going to platform 1 up there. And down here, it's going to platform 1 and platform 2. We can, I guess this is going to be another Miramar line. So we'll call this planks to goods. I know it's not a Miramar line, but that's kind of the easier way to look at this thing. So we'll set it up like this and that'll be fine. And then we just need to get some trucks that can set this up the way I want it to be. So up to 200 on the rate. So planks to goods, we'll pin you. We'll go and look at the road depot. We'll get ourselves some of these trucks and I'm just going to get 10 of them for the time being. We're going to paint them the same old color that we always do. And then down to Miramar planks to goods. That gives us a rate of 172. Manage the vehicles. Give me 2 more of them. And that's going to give us 207. So that is pretty much what I'm looking for. We're now kind of maxing things out a little bit better and we should hopefully see some better results. I'm also kind of thinking I want to get a little bit creative for a second and change things up a little bit. So these guys are moving logs. I'm going to change the vehicle colors to sort of match what they're moving. So logs will go for, I want to say this color is what we're going to go for. I think that's, yeah, that's fair enough. Up this way, we're going to be looking at, let's see, goods delivery is moving cardboard boxes. So we'll change those guys to be, I don't know what color to change those guys to be completely honest with you. Let's go for this for the goods delivery. The planks delivery is going to be sort of a similar color. I guess in terms of planks delivery, we'll go for that one. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. I kind of like that. And then the plastic delivery is moving the purple sort of plastic looking thing. So we'll go for this color. So it sort of matches the plastic just to get a bit of variety in here, you know, just to get a bit of color into this space. And then down here, we're going to look at changing this up as well. So we got bricks delivery. Those guys are going to get a nice sort of, I think a nice sort of solid kind of brick red. Does that match the bricks? That kind of matches. That's pretty good. And then slag to bricks is this sort of brownish color. So we'll go for, I guess we'll go for this again. That seems okay. It could be a slightly different color, but I think that's maybe that one, just to change it up a little bit. And again, it just gives us a little bit of variety in the colors of the trucks. I haven't done this in a while and I'm a little fed up looking at all the trucks being the same color. So that's kind of what we're going for. And then next up, we got steel to tools. So let's have a look at your vehicles. Steel to tools is going to be, let's go for that color. A nice sort of silvery. Can I get like a bluish silver instead? I can get this guy. That's definitely not what I'm looking for though. I think this one's probably as close to sort of a bluish silver. That's pretty good. I think that's good. So yeah, that's our steel line. This is our tools delivery. So we'll manage you guys and that can maybe be sort of a silvery color just because I feel like that makes sense. That looks pretty good. And then we have the grain one and that'll be our last one that needs changed. So you are going to be changed out to that color right there. And there we go. We just have a bit of variety. Just changing it up, getting some color into the space so I can actually get a better idea of what's moving and what's coming and going. I just like it. It's just nice. And would you look at that? We've got some goods finally heading into Miramar. We're finally starting to see some resources get stocked up in here as well. So hopefully this thing will do some leveling up, and that's going to have some knock-on effects to the chemical plant and to the sawmill as well. I would like all of these guys eventually to level up really nicely, but I'm not super concerned about it right now. This right here, Miramar Bricks Delivery, is very busy, but I think for the most part they're doing fine. If we look at our consumers, 182 with 100% transport. So that says to me that this line is 166. Interesting. It's not actually good enough. Let's get another vehicle in there. 195 seems pretty solid. So that should start to just balance that out a little bit, which is going to be great. Although this place does want more bricks than it's currently getting. That's wow. Okay, I wasn't necessarily expecting that. I think we're going to have to look at just bringing the numbers of everything up into Miramar, but we're not going to be doing that today because I think we can go ahead and leave it there for today. We've made some good progress. We've got plenty of resources coming up this way. We have steel, we have slag heading up and being turned into wonderful things here and there. We've got a lot of vehicles going through here. We might want to look into doing something about that because I don't know if this town's going to be enjoying that. I also think maybe sending them sort of over a bridge over the train tracks might be a better bet. But again, that's something we can worry about in the next one because we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.